So a lot of the churches haven't done so well, but this one,
Yes,
this one isn't too bad, but it's got a green sticker.
Green sticker, and then here we've got the 24th of February, obviously search and rescue from Taiwan. Pipe organ collapse, but otherwise green, and what everybody wants, a green sticker.
But this is done much better than many of the...
Yes, it's the wood. The wood is very forgiving. My house, the reason they haven't knocked it over is because it's wood and it gives. And so although it's in dire straits, if it was brick, they wouldn't have even let me get stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, they actually, it's interesting, they were ahead of everybody else, because when I first arrived 2.5 years ago, for the first almost year, it was always in scaffolding because they were doing renovations. And I think what they did by strengthening, I think they might have done strengthening of the foundation, it's upheld extraordinarily well. This is the oldest school in all of Christchurch. It also happens to be an Anglican school, the diocesan school, but it was set up initially by the Sisters of the Community of the Sacred Name in conjunction with St. Michael and All Angels Church. And to this day, it is founded on not only on Christian values, but regular worship. The children learn how to pray. They learn all about the faith, as well as receiving an excellent education. But like so many places, not only did they have some physical damage, you can probably see the stonework that has been impacted, but some of the families have moved out of the city, and so the enrollment is down. And that's hard, because each enrollment is a decrease for the income of the school. And so we were meeting about how we're going to talk about how we're going to meet that challenge, and how we're going to do everything we can to make sure the school stays open well past its 160th anniversary.
So with all that's been going on, what's your take on the way people are actually feeling now?
People are doing extraordinarily well, but I have to say that signs of exhaustion are beginning to show. I'm pleased that people are still being patient with each other, but you can just see in people's faces that they're getting a bit more wan and tired looking. The continuing aftershocks wake people up. I think the time now is for people to be even more vigilant about supporting one another, and to say, why don't we just go over here and say a prayer together? Why don't we just start by talking about what we're experiencing? What's it like in your home at the moment with no portaloo close at hand? What's it like still having intermittent electricity? What's it like that when your children go out to see their friends, you worry that there might be an aftershock while they're out of the home? Let's be really honest and transparent with one another, because you know what? It's going to go on a lot longer than the next 3 weeks, getting used to this.
When we last spoke to you, you talked about people being Christ's hands and feet and heart and voice. How do you see that working out now in practice?
Well, it's very interesting. In the Archbishop of Canterbury's Lenten letter, he talks about the need for prayer for a variety of places around the world. We all know about those. Just at the end, he said, I've just heard about Japan. But he said, our prayers continue with the Christchurch, New Zealand, where the church is clearly taking a lead in rebuilding a community that has been devastated. And I thought, thanks be to God, that's not just the Anglicans, that's the church across all denominations that are really building up and showing that the kingdom of heaven is here and now, as well as in the future.
Now, at the end of this week, you've got a small service with a few people coming. How do you prepare for a service that is going to involve so many people? So many people will be watching. It's just a huge thing that's going to happen.
First of all, it's not about numbers. I think what you think about is talking to people's hearts, not talking to a particular number of people. But what makes this service very tricky is that, of course, there have been a very significant number of bereavements. I met a little girl, probably 6 years old, who lost her father. Just heartbreaking. So there's those people, and we'll have the 2 minutes of silence. But I'll also be talking to people who have lost their city. And part of the service will be a video that shows the loss that has been borne by all of us, and that will be deeply moving. Then there's people who have lost their business, their income. Just heard someone say in the last hour, well, there won't be a paycheck this month or next month, and we're beginning to think the month after either. What do we do? That's gutsy. You know, they're owning it, and they're trying to make plans for meeting that need. Each of those is a bereavement, and each of those needs to hear that it is all right to grieve, but into the midst of that grieving, there needs to be spoken a word of hope, the beginning of looking to the future. Again, in the Gospel of John, the crucifixion and the resurrection of our Lord are actually not two events, they're one. It's two sides of one coin. So at the moment, we're into the passion, we're into the death, we're into the suffering. But what we must always remember as Christians is where there is death, there is also resurrection, and that there is hope, and that we need to live into the light so that resurrection can be born in us and we can carry it to others.
And how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I mean, I wouldn't mind a bit more sleep, I admit that. And I wouldn't mind having a permanent address at this point. But I'm hopeful that I've got a little plan about solving that one. And I wouldn't mind having my own car back. And maybe this week I'll even sleep in the same bed 2 nights running. Who knows? So it'll be just fine. I'm not worried about those things.